What's good? Welcome to First String Podcast. On today's episode of First String Podcast, we have the one and only Donna Hopkins joining us today. Today we'll be giving our Commanders recap. We'll be doing our Commanders recap. We'll be discussing Brian Robinson being on the market. Denton Day was supposed to join us to do a college football preview, but he had a family emergency. We'll go around the NFL, talk about some of the things that are going on, and we will have a checkup with our fantasy football with our guy Cuzzo. So we got a full slate. I hope y'all are ready. Y'all know what time it is. Let's go.
It's wartime, baby. This is what you signed up for. This is what we worked hard for. You for. Y'all the first string. Y'all gotta go set the tone now. Hey, let's go. Lace 'em up, it's the First String Podcast Show. Hey, let's go. They spitting facts on the First String Podcast Show. Hey, let's go. Let's go. Hey, let's go. Cause it's time for the First String Podcast Show. Hey, let's go. Lace 'em up, it's the First String Podcast Show. Hey, let's go. They spitting facts on the First String Podcast Show. Imagine talking sports, having fun with the fam. At a starting lineup, First String is what you have. An entertaining stream with the Pro Bowl cast. When the viewers chime in, they gon' answer what you ask. Representing for the Queens, yeah, we got Lady A. A super knowledgeable woman who can break down any play. Said from the South, so he rep GA. The Falcons, the Bulldogs, the whole Peach State. Drunk Uncle Al, only way you can describe him. Every time he crack the mic, you know he gon' be wildin'. Last but not least, it's my man Toothpick. Commanders is a squad and he the captain of the ship. So if you feel the vibe, go ahead and tune in. Like, subscribe, recommend to a friend. Nah, for real, like, subscribe, and recommend this to a friend. Hey, let's go. Cause it's time for the First String Podcast Show.
Welcome back to First String Podcast. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to First String Podcast. Hit the bell to enable alert for new content just like this. And the most important part is that you tell a friend to tell a friend about First String Podcast. That's how we grow. That's how we continue the show. So let's bring in our guests right now. We have Miss Donna Hopkins joining us. You guys know who she is. You see her. She gives you all your good news, notes, and updates. I just got to ask you this. I got to start off with this one. How did it feel to be smack dab in the middle of a Snickers commercial with Mikey, Jaden, and the big bro of them all, the middle linebacker? How did it feel? I mean, because they got
Bobby Wagner was in there. You know what? If Snickers could get that to use that as a commercial, they would be making a lot of money. It was fun. It shows you how light things are out there among the players. You know, that was after practice. You know, I was going up to ask a few questions and just happened to be in there in the right time. And Mikey and Jaden and Bobby just have a great relationship, play all the time, pick all the time. But that's what you want as far as if you're going to do something in life, you should be able to enjoy the process of what you do in life. And they definitely do that. And as Mikey said, hey, we're family. And that's the thing about this Commanders team overall. Mm-hmm. They're just having a good time. And you could tell that they are real family with this team as they start off this 2025 campaign of a season with 2 preseason games already under their belts.
Yeah, well, speaking of family, you, Candy, and I guess little bro, even though he's taller than all of y'all, Lake, you guys, are y'all all prepared? Because last year, it was a long journey. It was a long season. right? But y'all hung in there. Y'all really did. Did y'all prepare? How was y'all's mini camp? How was y'all's training camp? Did y'all get everything done y'all need to get done? Because we trying to go to February. We trying to get to February this year.
Yeah, I mean, we've been quite busy, since the end of last season. Started with the draft,
Mm-hmm.
then went right from the draft to rookie camp, OTAs. So it's never stopping from us. We got a chance to talk to position coaches, and now we're in the meat of training camp. I think that I want to say we're 21 days in or something like that, but
Love count.
just yeah, we lost camp because well, let's just say training camp has materialized into preseason, and they've got 2 preseason games under their belt. We'll
Yep.
play the Baltimore Ravens. We're supposed to be in an inter squad scrimmage with the Ravens, which to me that hurts a little bit
Yeah.
because the preseason is so short, and I always say that the beginning of the season is so sloppy because you cannot get prepared playing limited games, being that you may be able to see stuff in practice, but we know when it comes to game day up there with the Patriots, when they had the joint practice, we were able to see some things. The Commanders were able to learn a lot about themselves in that first preseason game. And then this preseason game, the second one, we got to see the actual starters for a short period of time,
Real
to
short.
see how they gel. And it was against a good opponent, being that you had a solid quarterback on the other side with Cincinnati, and Washington had their solid quarterback. And so if you're going to, and then you had Lamar Chase and that group of receivers up there, offensive line, defensive line. So to me, it was a good task for the Commanders to go
Mm-hmm.
into a game where the defense was going to be tested with the weapons that Cincinnati had, being with their quarterback Joe Barrows and Chase and the other group of receivers running back, and how did that defense line up? And then Cincinnati had to go against Jayton and that offense that was not in long, just long enough to shake the rust off, to get a little work in a real game. So I thought it was a good measuring stick for the
Mm-hmm.
Commanders because I've been watching practice, but I always say I've got to see it in the real time situation. And we were able to do that with the starters, the second string guys, third strings last year. For the most part, as Coach Quinn said, that was a sloppy game all the way across the board. When you get a kickoff return for a touchdown right off the bat, and then knew that they had a lot of things to clean up, but it was great that we got to see the starters to kind of like see where we're at with that. And that's what I got from the players, is that you got to see a lot of things, and a lot
Yeah.
of things are what you need to work on.
Well, let's start there. Let's start off with our special teams. Seeing as how they don't get a whole lot of work, and Baltimore, I think you hit something right on the head. Baltimore is one of those teams that is going to be well prepared in all 3 phases of the game. I think this inter squad scrimmage, the cancellation of it did hurt, because I think maybe that may have been one of the areas that coaches wanted to work on was, hey, let's get these special teams
Mm-hmm.
units out here and let's see what's going to happen with that. So I think that special teams period might have been, one of the things they may have addressed.
Yeah.
Going into the season right now, I'm a little scared of special teams. How are you feeling about that? I mean, especially kickoff return.
I think they'll be okay with the kickoff return, punt return, because Jaden Lane, they had him back there. I don't think you'll
Mm-hmm.
see Austin Eckler back there like you did last year. He's too valuable in that running back room. Oh, I see that. Shout out to Fairmont. There you go.
There go Corey right
I
there.
had to throw in that little dab too. I said, "Oh yeah," but I think that with the special teams unit, with the veterans that played, a lot of them were on that special teams unit. And I mean, even in that second preseason game, I saw them give up yardage on some of the returns. So
Yes.
that concerned me a lot, because that's something that they, as Coach Quinn, pride themselves on, is special teams. And we know that all 3 phases have to be on point. So the
Yep.
return, so they need to be tightened up a little bit. But this is the thing that does not worry me a lot right now, because I think, you're still trying to incorporate who's going to be on this 53-man roster, and that will dictate who's going to be on special teams. So they're working some guys in as far as, downfield guys, blocking on the sideline, closing those gaps and everything. So I said that they gave us some more yardage in special teams, but I think the return guys are going to be all right as far as kickoff and punt returns, because we got sure-handed people back there. It's not so much the return guys that concern me. It's more so the, as far as the coverage that we're not seeing clean right now. And then, Gay ended up, doing well on Monday night and everything in that game against the Bengals. So, I had a question about that too, because, kickoffs, as far as punting, as far as those kicks, anytime you kick a field goal, 40 to me and in should be money in the bank. And then 40 to 52 to 53, you got to be able to hit that pretty consistently too, because that's where you're going to probably hit some of your field goals. And the thing too is that last year was just sloppy play across the NFL as far as the kicking game and kickers and everything. I mean, it wasn't just Commanders who had problems or Baltimore who had problems, and that's a whole different story. But across the NFL, they had kicking problems last year. So Coach Quinn was asked about the kicker, and he said nobody is being bought in yet. So I think that he did well the other night against the Bengals, but it's something still to watch. But I think that you'll be able to understand it a little bit better when you get that final roster of who's going to be really on it.
Okay, Donna, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, Donna,
I think you froze a little bit. Okay, Donna? Now I can hear you. You're back.
Well, my question was, how do you feel that with the announcement? Oh, boy. Okay.
What was that question again?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
The question is, how do you feel the running back showed last night with the announcement that Brian Robinson will be traded or released?
Yeah, I think that's an area, when they started the season in OTAs, they had like 8 running backs in the room, which was the most, as Austin Eckler told me, that he's ever seen. But I think that they did a fantastic job as far as Chris Rodriguez got a little burn in the New England game, but they used him a lot in this game. He was the leading running back in that game against the Bengals on Monday night. And then Ja'Cory Bill Merritt, as he wants to be recognized, is Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, aka Bill, did a fantastic job. He ends up getting a touchdown run, his first in the NFL. And I think that we saw the production of the running game really look good. The offensive line did a good job of blocking, and then the running backs did a good job of finding the holes. And we saw a little bit of Jeremy McNichols also in that backfield. So, I mean, you got to be pleased what you saw with the running back room and against the Bengals. But you feel for Brian Robinson, who learned the day before that he, was not going to be playing in this game. And, as far as them moving on from him. So, you hate to see that, but this is the NFL, and we're almost at the end of training camp. And I think the Commanders want to give Brian Robinson, if they're going to release him, and I think that that's what they were going to do moving forward, is that it gives him an opportunity to catch on with some other teams. So I know that Brian is probably devastated, but the running back room was pretty good because Jaden Daniels didn't even have a throw because he didn't have to, because the running game was doing so well. And that's something that we wanted to see from last year to this year, is what is that backfield going to look like? And I didn't even mention Demetrius Filton because he's did a good job. Dominique.
Okay, I got a question for you. Being that I've watched Christian Robinson off and on because he played at the University of Kentucky, he had a lot of crucial fumbles at different times throughout his early tenure with the Commanders. It's a surprise for me that they actually got rid of Robinson and not Rodriguez.
Well, remember, Brian Robinson had a problem during the stretch last year where he fumbled the ball back to back in one game. So I think that you're looking at a Brian Robinson be released more so than a Chris Rodriguez, because he plays multiple positions. Most of the running backs is in the house right now, they play on special teams. And so when you're looking to looking at a roster where you may have to keep some bodies in other areas, then you have to look at, well, who can we let go and possibly get something? Because again, the running back room is loaded, and Coach Lynn told me back in OTAs that it was a lot of talent, and that was going to be a crucial competition. And remember what Coach Quinn said in the beginning: it's competition, and it's not about who your name is and whatever. It's about who beats who out in that head-to-head competition. But I think all the other running backs that's on this team, they play special teams. And that's the key thing right there, is who does extra things that the Commanders need them to do. And I think that Brian Robinson not playing special teams probably hurt him some.
So it's hard to shake this out. Like you said, you didn't even get the chance to mention Felton, because I'm not sure how big is Felton. Is he another big guy that we could a 4th and 1 when it's obvious that we could put him in on the 4th and 1? I know Chris Rodriguez is a big guy. Bill's not that big. You don't want to use Eckler with that because of his concussion history, and he's a little older now. And then Jeremy McNichols has had some tough runs for us here, but like, who's that big 4th and 1 guy when we got to have it that we know we can use now?
Yeah, Felton, when I talked to him earlier in OTAs, and they like what they see in him, he said his specialty, I mean, he's a solid runner, but his specialty is he can catch the ball coming out that backfield, which they utilize the backs a lot. Chris Rodriguez, you got to give him kudos, because last year, and I'll answer your question about who's going to be that bruiser. It could be a Chris Rodriguez, because he's got nice size and he's more muscular than the other guys. But I think that the finesse of the Commanders' offense, you don't really need that big bruiser guy like up in Baltimore. Derrick Henry. You don't necessarily, because Saquon Barkley is not what you say Derrick Henry's size back, but he has that finesse to be able to get you into into the end zone. So Chris Rodriguez may be that guy, goal line a guy. And the thing about Chris Rodriguez that you have to love about them, he was getting ready to be out of here last year in training camp. I mean, he came close to not being on this team. And remember, he wasn't active for most of the season. And when Brian Robinson and Eckler went down, Chris Rodriguez came in, and he produced every game that he came in. So he caught the coach's eye. And I know that the coaches like him. They like what they're seeing, the production from him. We got a taste of that in that Cincinnati game. And then Bill Merrick adds another dimension. The running backs that we've mentioned, all of them do something different. And the Commanders can interchange them to shake up another team trying to prepare about who they're going to bring in. They can bring in Chris, because they were giving them everybody a taste last night in that Baltimore game, because
Right.
Chris Rodriguez was in there, and then Bill was in there to start. Then Bill came out, and then it was Chris Rodriguez. Then it was Jeremy McNichols. Then it was Felton. I don't know if Felton got too many touches or anything.
Yeah, he didn't get too many.
No, but for the most part, it was those three, and Eckler didn't even, he wasn't going to play anyway. So I haven't even mentioned his name. So when you talk about those running backs in the house right now, you can keep all five or whatever, and they can play special teams. Most of them are going to play special teams, except Austin, because of the concussion situation. But he does run the ball back. But I think even Bill is going to be back there on kickoff returns, because we've seen him back there catch balls and so forth. So I think the running back room, you got to like what you see. But this is the other thing. You never know when it cut down comes across the NFL, who's going to be available that the Commanders snatch or maybe add to the running back room, or, so we never know how that's going to materialize. But these guys that we mentioned, they're making names for themselves by producing when they need to produce.
Right.
And
we haven't even, So I think that
competition seems to be all around. And last night we saw.
What was that again?
Go ahead, Donna.
No, what did you say? I didn't hear what you said.
I was saying, go ahead. I was saying.
Oh no, I was saying
it seems like competition is all around.
Oh, definitely. And going in, they said that the running back room would be highly competitive, which it has been, and the wide receiver group was going to be competitive, and we see that. But when I was talking to Cliff Kingsbury last week, I asked him what did he see in the in the wide receiver room, and were they producing the way he needed them to produce? And he said some are getting it and some not. And so that tells me it's a big question mark as far as the wide receiver room, because Chris Moore did not have a good first preseason game, too many drops. And then, you've got Ja'Cory Brooks, who has had a solid training camp, has played well. Luke, in that game against Cincinnati, I don't think he caught a ball. And he, to me, hasn't stepped up to take that next step to say, I'm making this team. So it's some question marks that beyond your starting wide receivers. Deebo Samuels, loved how they used him in the backfield, which I'm sure they're going to use him, with some of those plays coming out the backfield of what they did in San Francisco. Then you got Jalen Lane, who's played well too. So you got two of your wide receiver, and I didn't mention Terry because he's not there yet. So you got to go with who you're going with if things don't, move forward with that situation. And so Noah Brown, he's hurt right now. So you don't know if he's going to be ready to start of the season. So who comes in after you talking about Jalen Lane, as far as Deebo and whatever other, wide receivers you got in the mix there? But if a Noah Brown is healthy, you would be okay with that. But you definitely need a Terry McLaurin in there to add to that wide receiver group. And again, like I said, that it's competition there, and they got 2 weeks to step it up to say, who wants to be on this team in that wide receiver room? And I look for the Commanders, when the cut down comes across the NFL for that 53-man roster, that they're going to snag a wide receiver if they can, just like they did with Noah Brown last year. And KJ Osborne had, the first preseason game, he was talking about, he had some balls. One was in his hand, Michael Gallup also won. I didn't see him much in that Cincinnati game, but KJ Osborne had a pretty good game in for the Bengals and everything. And I'm just got a lot of question marks about the wide receiver group of who's going to end up on this team, because I think that a lot of players have not stepped up to Kingsbury's standard as far as him being comfortable going into the opening game against the Giants.
Yeah, it looks to me the same way. We have a question from the chat here, and it says the first one that we have is with Brian Robinson being released, and they save, I think, about $3 million. Do you think that some of that money can be used for McLaurin?
I mean, it possibly could be. I mean, because it frees up a little bit more. But the question is not so much of freeing up the money, because I think that they probably had the money to go with. Is about their value of what they think that they should be paying Terry. The holdup is not do we have the money? The holdup, and that, I mean, it always helps, but the holdup is Terry wants this amount, and the commander is saying this is the amount we want to give you because this is where we think that you fall. And Terry is saying, no, I don't fall there. So that's the holdup, is that they've got to be able to come in the middle between what Terry wants and what the commander wants to give. But at the end of the day, we have to remember he's under contract. I mean, that flat out, he's under contract. So it'll be interesting come on Wednesday to see if he shows up, since he was taken off that pub list. But I mean, it does help about the money. And I don't think that was the reason why Brian Robinson was released. It's more so about the running back room and who they want to go with this coming season and what they feel that they have, because somebody was not going to make this team. So I think they're looking at who can play multiple positions. And that's one reason why I think Brian Robinson was let go early, so he can catch on with another team, because they saw him probably not fitting into their plans moving forward.
I think it had a lot to do with the explosive runs as well. Another question that we have here is, hey, Donna, it was late when Hamilton Sr. got into the game, but he played well. Any chance he could stick around?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting, this whole, when I start looking at the roster and I start looking at positions, who's in front of whom, it becomes interesting to see if he does, maybe on some of these guys are going to end up on the practice squad, because it's just not going to be enough room on the active roster. So if Hamilton is a guy that they want to be able to stick around, because they see the value of, if somebody gets hurt, this guy can possibly come in. I think that's what you'll basically see when the cut down comes, is does he really fit into their plans, and do they feel like he could be a guy that we can hide on the practice squad, because we see the upswing in his abilities. So I'm not for sure, because when I look at my roster to try to figure out who's going to be here and who's not, it's hard, to figure that out with some positions. And we haven't even, the offensive line, you think about it, when certain players come back and in that game against Baltimore, we didn't even get to see the offensive line as far as Laramie Tunsil in there, and Brandon Coleman, and so Cosby. Imagine the offensive line did play pretty better than I expected, and they look really good. Josh Connolly has played well the first preseason game and the second one. You could see that it's starting to just go for him.
Starting to click for him,
yeah, really click where he's getting this. But imagine those other players. So everything is going to be predicated on certain players coming back off of injuries and who you can keep when they come off those injuries and everything. But I look at some of those players of being on the practice squad, since they can house more people on there.
Okay. So I got to ask you about a couple players, 2 second-year players. The first one I want to start with is Luke McCaffrey. Luke, with Terry not being there, this would have been an excellent opportunity for Luke to step forward and show that he's grown as a wide receiver. He is a converted wide receiver, so we know it's a bit of a project. However, the New England game, he was hurt, didn't show so well, and then yesterday, I don't believe he got a target.
Yeah, I saw him. I watched him yesterday, and I think it's some concern there because that early on in OTAs, Coach Quinn and Kingsbury talked about, Luke basically getting really comfortable, and you could see that he's catching things on, but it's not really materializing as much as you would have thought by now being in the system a whole year, because Coach Quinn talked about those second-tier players and wanting to see their development and how they step up in their second year. I think that Luke has been a guy, and the quarterback play was so bad in New England, and it wasn't much better from the second and the third, with Hartman and Josh Johnson. The receivers, either they couldn't find them or the receivers couldn't get open.
Right.
And then Hartman, throws the 2 picks to get 2 scores for the Bengals. So Luke, I was purposely watching the wide receivers that were that's trying to jar to make this team. And I don't think that Luke has stepped up to the where you would have thought he did. Like you said, Terry not being there, and I'm not for sure which players Kingsbury was talking about, that some of the players are not getting it. But I haven't been totally impressed with Luke because we saw some flashes of him last year early on when he was getting the ball thrown to him, that he was making plays, and then second half of the season he kind of disappeared because the Commanders started, were with some of their other main veteran receivers. But but Luke, it just seems like he was just out on the field running around and not getting the ball or getting open to get the ball. So I'm not really sure what's going on there, as far as just the second year of grasping the offense, but he's one of those players that may be a question mark of, does he make this team?
Okay. My next one is Bobby's backup, Jordan McGee. So Jordan, one of your favorites. We got to put 3 safeties on the field now because we can't get into our 3 linebacker looks, and teams are going to test us with the run. And the one thing that this team is saying is they have to earn the right to rush the passer, and to do that, you got to have Jordan on the field so that we're putting teams into 3rd and long where we can let the dogs loose. What are the chances that we see this guy come week 1?
I don't know. I mean, last year Jordan had a great start of training camp, OTAs this year. All I heard about was the greatness of Jordan McGee and what he's been doing and what they like about what he's been doing. And then training camp starts, that he was getting the accolades again about, his abilities and so forth. And then he got hurt, the injury bug, like he did last year in training camp. And then he was out, didn't come back in until late in the season, pretty much played special teams. So this was the year that you were hoping that injury-free, that he can stay in here, because he does add a lot to that, that linebacker core. He's fast, he's physical, he can handle covering tight ends, which we know that is so key for the Commanders and teams across the NFL in general. So, I mean, he was out on the sideline on Monday night against the Bengals, but I'm curious to see him get back in here there this week. I don't know what his injury is, because they keep things close to the vest, because I still don't know what Noah Brown's injury is. I don't know what most of the players' injuries are really, because the Commanders really don't discuss that, and they don't have to, because it's preseason. It's not like the regular season where you have to disclose who's hurt and so forth. But Jordan, I'm hoping that this week that they can get him back on the field, so that, he's been out a minute now. So it's important for him to get back on the field, because I think he's going to be key for that success there. But I think I do like the back end of this Commanders defense, but it's getting the bodies back that you need to have back there too.
Do
And it's
you think
all
you see?
going to be predicated too of
Yeah,
what's up front and the pressure that you're getting up front. And one
yeah.
guy that I saw last night in the Bengals game is Javon Kinlaw.
Oh my God, I saw him throw a guy and make a tackle yesterday. Woo.
For the short time he's in there, that's an impactful player on the defense. You were looking to say, hey, how is the defense going to be going into this season versus last season where they couldn't stop the run? I saw them as far as their gap control be better, their edge containment was better in that game against Cincinnati because even though Joe Barrow's that play with Frankie Louvu, they had him on fourth down,
Yeah,
and they were
Frank.
counting to see. They kept waiting to see. Okay, we're going to draw them off, and sure enough, they did. But when you look at the containment on the edges, where they weren't letting people out, and then not only that, plugging the middle where they were stopping the run, you could see people gaining up. Swarming around where they weren't going to squeeze out. That's the improvement that I saw on Monday night against the Bengals is finally the containment around the edges that I saw that was much better. Still would like them. And I mean, they show some pressure in getting to the quarterback, but I need them to get to the quarterback and get them down quite a few, at least 3 or 4 sacks a game. But I saw some improvement as far as stopping the run in there when the starters was in there. But the other person I didn't make it, Jacob Martin has played well too. I mean, nobody is mentioning his name, defensive end, but when he's gotten in there, he's had a good training camp too. But when he's gotten in there, he's been making plays also. So, but Kinlaw, I mean, you gotta love what you saw from him in that Bengals game.
I was absolutely watching him and Deron Payne. I wanted to see if Deron Payne started to use his strength the way that we saw Kinlaw use his. So that's where I was concentrating on because Deron Payne eats up a lot of double teams and things like that. But what I saw from Kinlaw, he's going to catch a lot of double teams too. And you can't double everybody.
Can't double. This is the other area that you watch also. Along with Deron Payne, you're looking at Johnny Newton, who's in that area where he's filling in for John. But I'm looking to see how those two guys interact too. And Johnny Newton, I think, has played solid in the first preseason game, and I think that you see the improvement overall from last year to this year because he's been healthy. He's speed. I asked him about what he saw in the game last night as far as from his play, and he said that as far as his feet work and as far as in stopping the run, which that is what he does. He is a speed guy, so that's what you've seen in there. So I'm curious to just constantly watch that. Is how that line really comes together. And I think that you already seeing the proof in the pudding with the Kinlaw. So you want to see Wise, you want to see Goodman. But I think that the containment, you could see a lot of that in that Bengals game going up against a good, offensive team.
Yeah. I also like the improvement of the secondary as well. You can see that we do have some players back there now compared to what we had last year. We do have some players, and we didn't have Trey Amos playing last night. I'm understanding from now it was like some hamstring tightness, but Noah Igbenogany, Mikey Sanders still. Did Mikey play like one series or something like that?
And then you have Will Harris, who made a great play.
Yes.
And then you had we didn't even talk about the safeties, but when you saw Quan Martin made a big stop up there. Yes. I don't even know how he got through there, but the safety position is looking good. And Jonathan Jones, he didn't play because he was hurt, I think. So, but when you look at the back end as far as the cornerback position, Lattimore, I think he's back 100%, definitely to 100% being that impactful player that we saw in New Orleans
New
before
Orleans, yeah.
Washington. So he was hurt when he came to Washington. So we really didn't get to see him, but he's 100% now. So playmaker, like you said, Amos didn't even play. Mikey, as far as on the other side, like I said, Will Harris, Jonathan Jones, safety wise, Percy Butler, even Jeremy Reeves is making plays as far as the safety position. We normally don't mention Jeremy Reeves, but you think about it, he played a lot in that New England game, and then he played a lot in the Bengals game. And to me, he's making plays too. You see the elevation in his play, even more so of how they're using him. So the back end of the Commanders defense has elevated a lot as far as the talent there, where you got players that can play multiple positions too, inside, outside, some.
Well, Donna, I'm just going to say thank you for all the time that you've given us tonight. It's been great catching up with you. I know it's Tuesday. It's Players' Day off. It's your day off, and I just
No. It's the Players' Day off. It was not my day off.
I appreciate you giving us time, and I will be reaching out again. My Aunt Iris said hello, of course.
Yeah, so, I got to catch up with her.
Yes. So, yes, you, Candy, Lake, y'all continue to have fun. If you don't follow these three on social media, you must do so. They find themselves in all kinds of trouble and just having fun. It's good
Candy
fun.
and Lake that are in trouble. I keep them out of trouble.
well, just don't let Candy do no more.
Yeah.
You see, he was giving her a call out, and he got cut off.
You got cut off right when he was saying, "Oh, let Candy do something."
Y'all went across that bridge in New England when y'all was up there. Y'all was going the wrong way. Like, which way did we go?
Right. Candy was driving, so I got to put that on her.
Hello.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I tell everybody, y'all got to follow them on social media. So they are hilarious. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And again, you got to tell Mikey, next time you're gonna cut a promo, at least clue y'all in.
Hey, no, it's all good. I don't like people to clue us in. I want it to be natural. That's when it's fun.
It was. They got y'all good with that Snickers commercial.
They did.
They did. Thank you so much.
You all.
All right, that's Donna Hopkins. She joined us and she gives us all the skinny on the Washington Commanders, and she gives it to you raw, the way she sees it, the way that we see it as well. Said, you got to get out of here.
About 10 minutes.
About 10? Okay, Sid. Listen, real fast. Let's do this. Let's run around the NFL. There have been some things that have been announced. Okay, so let's start off here. This one should have been obvious. The Indianapolis Colts are going to go with Danny Dimes over Richardson. Were you surprised, Sid?
No, not really. No.
Not really. Okay, let's go with the next obvious one. So Shador played. We had Gabriel play. And the Browns choose Joe Flacco to be their starting quarterback in week 1. Were you surprised?
Yes.
Considering that the 40-year-old Flacco hasn't taken a snap. Matthew Stafford is back to working it, considering his back as day-to-day, week-to-week. Are the LA Rams in trouble when it comes to the quarterback position? I mean, Matthew Stafford has always played hurt.
No, they're not in trouble. Stetson Bennett has been in the system for 3 years. Even though 1 year he was complete out of it, he was still in the system. He played. I think he's played in every game, every preseason game. He's had up and down games, but for the most part, he's done exactly what he's supposed to do.
They need a third quarterback. That means you got to go to the second quarterback first, Sid.
You skipping on Garoppolo. Isn't it Garoppolo? No, it's not Garoppolo.
It's Garoppolo.
It's the reason why Garoppolo can't stay as starter. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I think that he'll go with Stetson Bennett before he go to Garoppolo again. He may
one
not.
Bulldog to another bulldog.
We don't know if he's gonna do that or not. But I think with what Stetson Bennett has shown in these preseason games, He's shown the ability to read these defenses, basic, some not basic, because we've seen some blitz in this preseason. We've seen blitz. Not supposed to blitz, but we've seen blitzing.
No, it's nothing to say you're not supposed to blitz.
No. You're right. That's what I'm saying. It's not a written rule, but it was a gentleman's rule. We weren't going to blitz. We're going to keep it basic. But again, we've seen more blitzing this year during preseason than we've seen in other years prior to. And Stetson Bennett's played pretty well, especially that comeback at the end of the game this past weekend.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. I think I hit all the quarterbacks. So Brian Robinson. Okay, let's go here. So Terry McLaurin had an excused absence yesterday from the Washington Commanders. He's off the pup. That's what Donna Hopkins was referring to when she said that Wednesday's going to be an interesting day because Terry is off the pup now. So now that he's off the pup, will he practice? And what is his next move? Because he's no longer afforded that protection of the pup. Now we're going to start getting your pockets, right? So you saw that Trey Henderson for the Cincinnati Bengals traveled with the Cincinnati Bengals. That looked like a gesture of good faith because they have principles. Now they're just trying to get down to the guaranteed money. However, the Bengals did say that they are open to entertain trades for Trey Henderson.
Wow.
So my question to you is, which one is more likely to be with their team week one? Trey Henderson or Terry McLaurin?
That's a toss-up there, player. I'm gonna tell you, I'm really surprised because I think Hendrickson has led the league in sacks. I think the past 4 years. I think he's right there. They were showing a stat the other day. I think it was like the past 4 years, maybe 5 years. He's led the league in sacks.
He's been right there for sure.
If anybody who should be on the contract ready to play this year, it should be him. Because they're defensive ends that get out there and get it. Like Aaron Donald, those aren't dime a dozen. Are we gonna pick another one and bring him in? He can start like no. I mean, nothing against Terry McLaurin, but there are plenty of wide receivers come in and run 4-3, 4-4, and do very well.
Terry don't run a 4-3.
I'm just giving you an example, bro. I ain't saying he run a 4-3. I'm just saying there are wide receivers that come in and run that speed and do very well. Meaning that you have a better chance of replacing a wide receiver than you do with a defensive end that can rush the pass. That's all.
No, well, you know what? I'm agree with you. I'm gonna agree with you, only because I think edge rushers, special edge rushers, are harder to find.
Which is what I just said. Whereas wide
that's
receivers,
the only reason why I'm agree with you, because I'm gonna tell you what. If these wide receivers like Terry McLaurin, like Jamar Chase, like Jefferson, if they were that easy to find, everyone would have one, and every team doesn't have one. Speaking of which, the rich get richer. The Eagles trade for Mechie from Houston.
Mm-hmm. Is he healed?
That's the question. But if he ain't healed, he got time because they got Smith,
teammate.
They got the bully, AJ.
Mm-hmm.
They got a wide receiver, that got real close to catching a touchdown that we gave him, but we won that trade from Washington. So he got time. They got a nice tight end. They got Saquon that rushed for almost 2,000 yards last year. So he got time. Mechie, you don't have to rush Mechie, right?
Right.
That GM be GMing, right? I mean, is there a better GM than Philly's GM? You never hear about contracts up there because he signed you years early.
Right.
He fixes the salary cap because he's not looking at right now. And I dare you to come to him and say, hey, I'm a year away, you're gone.
He's been one of the best GMs. I mean, they won the Super Bowl. You can't discount what he's done. He built the defensive line. He built the offensive scheme. With the people. I mean, He's the hot man right now. You can't go away from him.
The commission just asked a question. He said, question for you guys, since Brian Robinson is on the trading block, if you were a GM, who would you try to get? Me. Brian Robinson is on the trading block. I'm gonna tell you what. I have been seeing some wide receivers around the league that I could see being our fourth and fifth wide receiver. So I wouldn't mind taking a stab at some of these other wide receivers, but you don't know if they're going to be cut. Like think about this. The wide receiver that lit us up yesterday was in the Commanders training camp last year. And he was on the Commanders roster the year before that. And the year before that. It takes wide receivers a little bit of time. Tinsley was in our camp for the last 2 years.
Right now.
He's with Cincinnati. Right? And Joe Burrow loves him. So I have to say that I would have to, pluck somebody off. If I see a third or fourth wide receiver, that's what I'm going after. So I'm taking somebody's third or fourth wide receiver.
It's going to be interesting to see who makes it to the practice squad. But remember, because you signed the practice squad means nothing. You can be poached. It's the active roster that can't do it.
No. The question is for Brian Robinson.
Oh, I'm just saying in general, if he makes the practice squad, he can be poached off a practice squad. He has to be on the active roster for them not to be able to poach him.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Yeah. But I feel you though. I feel you. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at strengthening my wide receiver room. I want my wide receiver room. I want it to be a fight every week for them to be on that field.
Right.
Like if they listed as inactive, I want them to be pissed off come that following week and catching everything. I'm talking about drops of water before they hit the ground. You know what I mean? The sweat off of the OC's forehead before it hit a blade of grass. That's how I want them catching everything. So that's what I would do, Commish. That's what I would do. I would literally try to trade Brian Robinson for like somebody's third or fourth. Yeah, somebody's third or fourth receiver or fourth or fifth wide receiver. Look around the league. See who got a deep wide receiver room.
Okay.
And they a running back needy team. I got you.
All right, let me go pick. Hey, all right. We had a good conversation today, and we're going to get back around the room, the NFL room, this weekend while we're watching these games that's going on, so we can talk about that as well.
Okay.
Because we've seen a lot of teams didn't play at all; they just starters, and some teams did. So we got a question about that. All right, my brother.
Later.
All
right, bet. All right, that's said. He's out of here. He's got to do some things. So it's just your boy Pick right now. Just my opinion. Grabbing. Who is this? You're grabbing somebody from the Saints. I'm not sure who that is, but I will definitely go look and find out about him. That's definitely what I'll do, Commish. Okay, speaking of, let me get back to my list here of what else we have to talk about right now. Okay, Denton's going to join us next Tuesday. Denton's going to join us next Tuesday. That's going to lead into week 1 of college football. And in week 1 of college football, we got a slate for you. You got Ohio State. You got Ohio State, Texas. That whole weekend is banana lands for college football. Also, the NFL players will probably be out at their alma maters. So you'll see a lot of people on the sidelines of their alma maters, especially if it's a big game. We went around the NFL. So Commish hit me up earlier today, and he told me that we have a couple of more spots in our fantasy football league. The last time I checked, it looks like we had 5 open spots. Is that right, Commish? Clyde Edwards-Helaire? No. No. Clyde Edwards-Helaire? No. I don't want no Clyde Edwards-Helaire. No, thank you. And I'm talking to you right now about the number of spots that we have. So if you are interested in fantasy football, we have our draft positions coming out tomorrow. Matter of fact, I got to get you Paulie's email address because Paulie wants into our fantasy league. So I'll send you Paulie's email address so you can send him out an invite. So we have 4 slots left. That's what it looks like to me. We have 4 slots left. If that's right, Commish, go ahead and give me a thumbs up or hit me with a that's correct or something. So once we get Polly, tell me correct or incorrect. But if y'all want in and you have my number, hit me up with a text, or if you have Cuzzo's number, hit Cuzzo up, because our draft will be live next Wednesday right here on First String Podcast and on That Fantasy Show. So we're going to live stream our draft. So everybody that's in the league will get shot that text, and we'll be doing our draft there. So, you know, you all will get to see what happens, and maybe we come up with some sort of terrible punishment for the following year. I don't know. Corey had another guy in the chat yesterday that was interested. I got that guy yesterday. I got him 4 to 3 slots left, depending my co-host. Okay, 4 to 3 slots left. Okay, let's go more instead of less. So we'll say 4 slots left. 4 slots left to get into our fantasy football league. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, that's who I got in. I got him in. Bruce. I appreciate that. So, man, listen. Hit your boy up if you are interested in getting into our fantasy league. Just, oh man. Oh, okay, there he is. Bruce, the invite has been sent to you too. The invite has been sent. You need to sign up. It shows 5. Bruce hasn't responded yet. Yep, Bruce. So you need to sign up. So you have the invite in your email already. Bruce, you have that one in there. And anybody else wants into the fantasy football league right now, just throw your email address up in there. We'll send that invite out. Cuzzo, Cuzzo's the commish. He's got this. We are going to have some fun with some fantasy football. I hope y'all are ready to get whooped, because Pick's not taking no prisoners this year. I'm not taking no prisoners. And after I beat you, I'm going to hit you with that Pick After Dark. I'm going to hit you with that. Was it as good for you as it was for me? I thought it was. It felt real good to me. That's what I'm going to hit you with right after I beat you. Right? I just want you to know. It's going to be weird. It's going to be just a little bit weird. So I'm just going to let you know that's how it's going to go. You're like, what's good? I know. That's what I do. Right? All right. So don't tell Lady A, but that's our show for tonight. So shout out to my son, United States Air Force. First String Podcast, second to none. Come get some. Say it's going to tell y'all. Go Dogs. I'm going to say raise hell.
It's wartime, baby. This what you signed up for. This what we worked hard for. You for. Y'all the first string. Y'all gotta go set the tone now. Hey, let's go. Lace them up. It's the First String Podcast show. Hey, let's go. They spitting facts on the First String Podcast show. Hey, let's go. Let's go. Hey, let's go. 'Cause it's time for the First String Podcast show. Hey, let's go. Lace them up. It's the First String Podcast show. Hey, let's go. They spitting facts on the First String Podcast show. Imagine talking sports, having fun with the fam. At a starting lineup, First String is what you have. An entertaining stream with the Pro Bowl cast. When the viewers chime in, they gon' answer what you ask. Representing for the Queens, yeah, we got Lady A. A super knowledgeable woman who can break down any play. Said from the South, so he rep GA. The Falcons, the Bulldogs, the whole Peach State. Drunk Uncle Al, only way you can describe him. Every time he crack the mic, you know he gon' be wildin'. Last but not least, it's my man Toothpick. Commanders is a squad and he the captain of the ship. So if you feel the vibe, go ahead and tune in. Like, subscribe, recommend.